What's up, everybody? It's your girl Shay on this Wednesday, and my special guest today is Claiborne Wade. What's up, Claiborne?
Hey Shay, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So, for the viewers and listeners that are tuning in to us, I have Claiborne Wade with me, and Claiborne is considered a parent liaison at Oscar DePriest Elementary School. Can you give me a little bit more about how you did become about this parent liaison position?
Absolutely, and I appreciate the question. What we find at so many schools, we have, our students, we have our principals, administration, teachers, but it's something that's missing, something that's very, very important, and that's parents.
Okay.
So we're funded under I'm funded under the Sustainable Community Schools grant that Oscar the Priest was selected to participate in the community-based organization is Family Focus. So with that position, they created a parent liaison position so parents can have a active voice at the school.
Okay. And so is there like a guide to become an effective parent liaison? Like, do you just have to be more like involved with coming up to the school? Like, how do you get into being a parent liaison?
Well, that's the key. Not it's like it's one with the grant. I think it was maybe like four schools that were selected, and it's only four. Don't quote me on the four, but
Okay.
that lets you know how small it is out of
Okay.
the entire Chicago public school system.
Okay.
So if every school will need a parent liaison at their school, so the parents can be actively involved at their schools and making sure that parents have a voice as well.
Okay.
And if I may, Shay,
Sure.
we also want to make sure, and then that's why I find it easy as well at the priest. We have a principal who is a big advocate for parents being on board, parents being actively again involved at the school. So the administration have to be on board in order for the entire piece to work as well.
Absolutely. So you got to have that committee team there to make sure you guys are being able to like help and tackle problems. So just with being in this type of field, what are some of the problems that you have came across encountered to where you felt like a parent could really have been there to support more or even alleviate any situations? What?
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, so how would when I first got the position, I thought that parents were going to be flopping towards me to be involved at the school, but that it was the total opposite.
Okay.
I had to work to make sure. Well, I had to put in the work to let the parents know that there is a spot here at the school.
Okay.
So we started with the parent mentor program. The
Okay.
parent mentor program is where parents pretty much like a teacher assistant. They come
Okay.
in 2 hours a day, assist the teacher. And it's not only when they're assisting the teacher, it's not like getting a cup of coffee or making copies. And so what copies comes along with it. But the parents are in the classroom with the teacher 2 hours a day, following their curriculum, working one
Okay.
on one with the kids in a small group of kids, assisting the teacher, helping her out. And they accumulate 100 hours, and then they're eligible for a $500 stipend once they accumulate the 100 hours. And then just now, we just found out that we were down in Springfield advocating for $7 million for the parent mentor program, which we actually got $8 million. So with that $8 million, we were able to up the stipend. Instead of $500, now it's $1,000. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, and that's great. That's great. So they accumulate the 100 hours, they get the $1,000 stipend, and we pitched them with that program, and then by that way, we're able to bring in more parents. Don't forget, we have the Priest Pack, Parent Advisory Council. We also have healthy eating choices. Bring in vendors such as Rhonda Thomas with healthy eating and all the other wonderful uh, events she have with her organization and all that good stuff. So it comes a lot with it. So we just have to make sure that we pitching it out there and making sure the parents are aware of it.
Absolutely. That you know what, that takes a lot because nowadays, well, I know coming up back then, from maybe like around my era coming up, you will see a lot of more parents out there like were helping crossing the children across the streets, or just being up there, just to help out in the office when it comes down to parenting these kids, because it does take a village to raise a child. But also, with you navigating and being a parent how do you pronounce the word again?
Liaison.
A parent liaison, because I'm going to say
Correct.
liaison, a parent liaison though. With you being a parent liaison, you're doing so much networking with parents and building relationships with them. Are there been any students that you have really gained relationship with? Unfortunately, there is a lot of gun violence in Chicago. Have you ever had any former students that are no longer with us due to like less activities in the neighborhood with gun violence, or any like negative whereabouts like that?
Right. Well, it hasn't personally affected me, but the parents that I work with at the priest, they have several stories,
Okay.
unfortunate stories that comes along with that. And it's crazy because when I was in high school, we had I was selected to participate with the youth advocacy group with World Vision, and we
Okay.
went to Washington to advocate um, issues in our community, and just so happened it was gun violence. So we
Oh
met with
yes.
then Barack Obama was the senator from here, Illinois, and then we met with our members in the House of Representatives, Congressman Davis, Congressman Bobby Rush, to let them know that gun violence is a huge issue in our community, and that was back in '07, and we're still dealing with this today. So
Absolutely.
I don't think that we can completely get rid of it, but I think that we can definitely decrease it in some kind of way. And you said one thing that was very, very important, Shay, and that was it takes a village. And,
Absolutely.
that can be, a little tough at times, but I think that, we continue to go about it the way we did um, in the 90s. And of course, in the 90s, we were, 8, 9 years old and all that good stuff, but we saw it because of, of the adults and the grandparents that was around us.
Yes, unfortunately, time does change, but
Hmm.
I did also see that it's not just like you just jumped out there and was like, you know what, I'm just going to try to be a hero to the schools and the communities, which unfortunately that is like another title for you, because you're stepping in to protect other people's children, navigate with them and be a resource to these children coming up and the parents as well. But let's talk about a little bit more of your background, where you come from. So I did read your bio and I saw that, you went to Michelle Clark, and in Michelle Clark, you was there on to like a committee team there to where you had to like really dedicate yourself to actually being like a student council. So you always was into these type of fields to where you were doing more advocating for yourself and others. Just give me a little bit more about the bio for Claiborne Wade.
Absolutely. And I want to if we just go back just a little bit, the parents are the key. I can't take the credit. The parents I work with at the priest, they're the ones that I'm listening to and bringing their issues to the forefront.
Absolutely.
And they are
Concerned
pretty much the
parents.
drive, concerned parents, mothers and fathers are
Okay. Now you
concerned
don't see
about
that a lot though. And
no.
and I don't want to get too ahead, but you don't see those parents more active as the moms.
Right.
So, but I
But when
definitely agree.
Thank you. And when when I was in high school, I just wanted to make sure that we, as a student body, we had a voice. So I remember when I think it was my sophomore year, I had ran for class president for the upcoming school year, and if I would have won, I was a long shot off because I would have been representing the senior class, and I was the junior. But I did lose that election. But I just wanted to make sure that my peers had a voice at the table. The
Absolutely.
students are important as well. So I just want to make sure that they had a voice and making sure that their issues were brought to the table as well.
So you when I hear you speak, you sound like you would love to just take more of a leadership role, and it's more of the leadership role in your community. So what is the target for when you are doing this leadership role? Is it for the women, the men, or is like equal for both? What do you see the strength can be pulled at?
But both, definitely from both. Um, you know, it's unfortunate that whenever I do go to these meetings, whether it's at the school, whether it's a meeting in the community, it's always brought to my attention that Claiborne's here. Thanks for coming, and we do notice that he's the only male
Okay.
in the meeting, and I just want to make sure that I'm advocating for all and making sure that our male and fathers are a part of this as well.
Absolutely, because you can't just be out here like outreach work and navigating, and then you're not true to yourself as a man. So
Right.
it's easy to stand up and be a voice for several other men. But if you're not, presenting that or applying that every day to you, then you really can't be a voice for them.
Right.
So that just goes back to men, period. You have to step up. You have to want to be involved into the children life or just parenting, period. Because us women, like you said, you would be in these parent committee groups and you're the only male there. So I don't know if it makes you feel uncomfortable, but you would like to see more of the men stepping up to be responsible fathers. I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. You are absolutely right. But
But
I'm
how do
more. Mhm.
I'm sorry to cut you off. How do you get their attention though when it's hard to navigate to someone who might feel like that's more of a mother's job?
Right. So I think that's the stereotype.
Okay.
It's it's not a mother's job. It's not a father's job. It's the parents.
Absolutely.
And it just so happened to may look that way because we may have more mothers actively in schools and at these
Mhm.
meetings. But I think that I'm a very hopeful and optimistic guy that there are more fathers.
Hey,
There are,
she's so cute.
yes, say hello.
She's
But
gonna steal all the camera time.
she is.
She's fine. It's okay.
Yes.
But you said it. You are a parent liaison.
I
So
am, and yeah, they come.
I definitely
uh,
want to get into a little bit more because not only that,
mhm,
just seeing articles about you, I
mhm.
definitely came across like a race in Chicago, and it was like this article to where you had an interview with like was this NBC News or Channel 5? You did have an interview, so I do want to share a clip of that, and if you don't mind, you
Sure.
could just give me a little bit more feedback of actually what the interview was about and how was it for you speaking on actually what are your title being in the community.
Absolutely.
So we're going to share this video, and this was Claiborne on NBC Chicago News. So what was the actual interview about?
Well, it was regarding race in Chicago and how we went about getting our less fortunate students here in the city on the south and west side of the city of Chicago, but it benefited all of the city with
Okay.
connecting them access to the internet. And we know that remote learning took effect when the pandemic hit.
Absolutely. Yes. COVID, you know what? And they want to send the kids back to school. I definitely want to hear a little bit more about this. Um,
Yeah.
I like it. You are doing a lot of outreach work for the community. Look at you. Those are
Yeah.
kids, correct?
Yeah, those are my. I have four kids, 11, a 9, 7, and a 3-year-old, and 3 of which are in the Chicago public school system. And the 3-year-old you just saw, Chloe, she haven't yet arrived yet, but I wanted to shed light on this issue because, according to the census, the access to internet in our low areas of the community, the poverty areas, areas that just don't have the access. I want to make sure that if we are going remote, that our kids need to have the same access to the internet like all
They would
other
in school. Yeah,
yep, any other cities. Like in Oak Park or whatever surrounding suburbs we have. I want to make sure that our kids have a piece of the pie as well,
absolutely.
and
Do
not just because normally when we think about it, and I apologize for cutting you off, but it's very, very important when we think, well, everybody always say free, free, free. It's an investment, and not
absolutely.
only that, the Chicago Connected program help is that it's not the low quality of internet. Our kids are provided with top notch internet service through Comcast and the major cable companies that's out there.
Yeah, that is it is because now you will see more of like the phone companies trying to offer internet for the kids, and then you still have to buy more gigabytes or more data and all of that for. So I think that is a pretty cool investment.
Mm-hmm.
That you was able to speak upon and be a part of something like that, and as they considered a race in Chicago. With over the time has expanded, do you see any difference throughout the school system when it does come down to the actual internet processing?
Absolutely. So, it was so good that the first year it went well. So we were targeting 100,000 households, but I think we just missed it within the first year of I think it was probably like 50,000. But I can definitely get those correct numbers to you for your viewers so we can have the correct numbers.
Okay.
So we were well on our way. We didn't reach the 100,000, but it was enough to the point to where the mayor said, "Let's keep it going and let's expand on it." So
Mm.
we were, parents came together. We work a lot with Kids First Chicago. They're a community-based organization, and they're organization that gives parents the voice. And
Absolutely.
so we came across to the point to where so we have internet access for our kids. Well, let's go further. How can we provide our parents, our families with resources that will help them in their everyday life? Because as you
Absolutely.
know, internet is a key piece to all of this. Because if you haven't noticed, when we get up in the morning, what's the first thing that we grab?
Grab our cell phone.
We grab our phones. So whether that's checking the weather, social media,
Emails.
emails, that it's very essential and we need it.
Absolutely. So, how do you become an eligible family to get the internet at no cost? Like, do you have any like keys or any type of resource for information for someone who might be struggling to get internet access for their children that is in school right now?
Right, right. So it's through the free and reduced lunch.
Okay.
So and then all because we did emails and press um, to folks if you want to see if you were eligible for the free Chicago internet connection, the investment for our kids. If you're eligible, just go to CPS website, and we have now a tab on the Chicago Public Schools website to where it indicates Chicago Connected, see if you're eligible, as well as the digital literacy piece that we are expanding from this Chicago Connected initiative.
When they first was coming out with children being able to have like iPads and tablets that they could take home during the COVID, I was a little skeptical about it because sometimes the internet can be very prohibitive for kids because it will stop them at any point. They can Google, they can look up other stuff. So I would just feel like sometimes the IQ scores might just drop because they're not using the internet for only pertaining to educational events or doing
Yeah.
schoolwork like that. So I'm gonna just say over the time frame, what have you have seen when it comes down to the children literacy? Have anything dropped over with them just having this extra use for the internet, or do you see it going strictly to like CPS usage?
Well, I think that by COVID hitting, our kids, you know, when they go back in the fall, there is going to be a gap,
Okay.
and I didn't, that was expected for me.
Okay.
So I just figured that once they get back in school, we just have to pick it up a little bit and double down on their work to make sure that that we're catching our kids up and making sure that they're ready for the future.
That's
And
right.
yeah, absolutely. And like I said, with this internet, we want to make sure these are our kids. This is their future, and then eventually they will be the next entrepreneurs and the next governors, the next Barack
Scientists.
Obamas, and all
Okay.
that good stuff. So we
But
got to make sure we don't let them down, and that's why I'm making
absolutely.
sure that I'm fighting for them.
Absolutely. And Claiborne, I already told you it's definitely starts at home. And you can also be more active with your children. You can just figure out, talk to us, the committee at the school, talk to the principal, do some
Hmm.
type of outreach work. So maybe you can start being a parent liaison for your
Yeah.
child. And it
Yeah.
doesn't just have to always stop at school. You can do this parenting at home. So, when your children are going out in front of these other student activists, they'll know how to enhance and embrace someone really being there for them. So
Right.
you
Right.
just have to be a parent, and it also starts at home. So
Right.
let's talk about changing the CPS board. I do see that you have several interviews to where you are doing the no cost for the internet for the schools.
Hmm.
You're a parent liaison, and now you're changing the CPS board. What are you doing that's active with changing the CPS board?
Right. So I want to with my position as a parent liaison, it's not, I am, committed to making sure that I'm servicing my parents at the prees, but it's also a wraparound service. So, I'm
Okay.
helping kids free internet across the city of Chicago, and making sure now, we're advocating for parents with, the Chicago Public School Board.
Okay.
Right now, the board is made up of, I think it's 7 members, and then the mayor appoints the Chicago Public School right now. And then for
Okay.
years, we've all, well, probably before you and I have been alive, they've been fighting for an elected school board.
Okay.
And now, this is our chance because, you and I, relatively new parents, and we want to make sure that, we have a voice at the table. And I want to make sure that, you know, other parents as well have a voice at the table. So, with this here, working again with Kids First Chicago, we, we initially, well, we opposed the bill. We didn't want the makeup of how the current bill, well, the bill that they had in Springfield already put together by a couple of senators. Senator Mark Wood, he was the Senate sponsoring the Senate, and Representative. Geez, I can't think of her name right now, but we had a House sponsor as well. But we did not want the bill because we did not support the bill because it did not make sure that it was. Of course, it was an elected school board, what we all wanted. I want that to be clear. All the parents, we want to elect the school board, but we want to make sure that the parents weren't not drowned out.
Okay.
We want to make sure parents had a guaranteed seat at the board. We want to make sure that non-citizens were able to participate. Accessibility, campaign finance reform. All make it easier for parents
Parents.
to be
Just
a
have a
part of the
book.
board.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
That's really, really great. And I'm
Mhm.
glad that you were just able to be a part of all of that, and you are doing that. So I definitely want to ask you, how are you balancing out being um a parent liaison at the school, and then versus when you come home you are actual parent? So do you ever feel like it's ever a turn off for you,
You said a turn off?
like a turn off button? Do
Oh,
you
turn!
ever feel
Oh no, no! Oh my goodness! I love,
your
I
job
love
never
the work that
ends?
I do. It never ends. Oh my goodness! And I owe, I owe a lot of it to my wife. She helps out so much. Um, um, but it's a job. It's a job. Working, coming home, then the kids are ready to play and have a good time. And and it's okay. It's the job that I signed up for. And not too many fathers get credit because, again, I can't stress this enough, that there are more good fathers out there than bad, and then the
Yes.
bad ones are sort of kind of held back because of how the system can play against them due to the fact of the small portion of fathers who aren't there.
And that was my next question. I'm glad that you went into that because I do see that you're talking about the board and all of that. So even like with being a parent liaison, because normally it's officers at the school that's doing that. So I was going to ask you, how do you feel about like the system when you just said like some men are being held back, like being accountable or just held for stuff that they're actually not doing? Like, what do you mean when you say that they are being held back?
Well, a lot of folks know, I'm we're a blended family,
Okay.
and when we have two parents disagreeing,
Okay.
for some reason, if you can't get it together, you have to take it to the courts.
Okay.
And normally, or at least my experience has been that y'all very nice, booty. Here, go take it to mommy. My experience has been, be careful, has been that if it's more to the point to less, if the parents aren't getting it together, you then have to take it to court. And then
Okay.
depending on what the judge, how they're feeling that day, the guys could get the short end of the stick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate. That's why
Mm-hmm.
we got to make sure when we elect these judges. Well, I mean, every person, I may sound cliche when I say it, when we go into these ballot booths and vote, you got to make sure that the president's on there, the mayor on there. You got to make sure you vote all the way down to the ticket,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the judges, because if they are the ones you will be seeing in those
Mm-hmm.
courtrooms whenever you have a ticket violation, or even like I've been going to court, making sure that our visitation time is equal. So
Absolutely. And that it does. And that goes back to me saying again, it takes a village to
it does.
raise a child. So whether if you are agreeing as parents or not, I believe that the bitterness should be out the picture, just as long as we are able to co-parent when it comes down to our children, because that's what the foundation is. It's about the children. So
Absolutely.
sometimes, and I'm a mother of two children too, and unfortunately, they have separate fathers. And I've always felt like I don't want to just put the system into my business, but like you said, sometimes you do have to take it out of the court when you're not able to come across any type of agreement arrangements for the sake of the kids. So but then that goes to, you get up there with these judges, because like you said, it goes down to you knowing who you're voting for. You would get up there and you can get a judge, and maybe because his name is Judge Marino does not mean he don't know Pookie off the block, and now you are really being set at a stagnation in your life, because here go this situation done encountered, and now black men already have a hard time. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
why do you want to put them on child support, or why do you want to play these fire with fire games? But unfortunately, there's bitter women and there are bitter men.
Mm-hmm.
So I
It
just feel
goes
like
both ways. It
you
goes
got
both
to
ways.
have self-control, yes, but for us women, you have to be willing to give these men the opportunity to take care of their children. And I really hate for women to do that to men who are active, but you will sit up here and allow someone else to go across your head 5 or 6 times, but you won't put a report on them. But a trying father who is out here really working or really trying something, now you want to label him or bash him as a bad father. Same thing for men. You have these women and they are out here taking care of these children. They are being full-time mothers, but because of you're not on that mentality, the mature level, now you want to bash her because she wants to change her life, or because she don't want to stand on the block with you no more. So now you go and get the lowest of the bottom. So that comes with people just being comfortable,
Absolutely. Yeah, you
So
look, you couldn't hit it on the head.
yeah,
You
and
have to be mature about it.
but not even just that, you got to educate yourself, because that goes to say, they taught us this in school, the legislative branch matter, the
Yes.
judicial branch. You have to know what you are going in there to vote against. But if you only feel like your president matter, then we are being cheated on governments, on governors, on good politicians for the schools, or just judges and the force out there, the board. We are being cheated on that because you're not educating yourself to know who you are going there and voting for on those ballots. So people always just think, hey, if you vote for the president, that's the main one. No, we're messing the system up because you didn't take your time to see where's these trust funds are going to go to, and we are steady getting people into these offices, and they're not doing everything. They're doing everything but except what we need to be done. And then now you get a new governor or a mayor, and you want this person to try to make up for 13 years of bad work. And it's like, wow. So don't you get it? So whether if you're a man or a woman, people like to try to put their expectations on their life for what they want you to be. And that's just like when you go in front of a judge, whether if he or she is telling the truth or not, that's their expectations. They're going to put it on you. So how do you beat the system? So
you can beat it. Look, the key thing is politics is local. There's no reason that you shouldn't know who your alderman is or who your local councilman is, because they're the ones that's in the community. And if you don't know, it's okay. Just find out who they are, so you could advocate for your community as well.
I definitely want to ask you a little bit, because I'm looking into your background and I see more like the presidential politics. I see like Obama. I see a couple of books back there. I see this flag, for like the seal for your curtain. So I definitely want to share a little bit more about you. So what do you do for like fun, for hobby work? It looks like you more into. Would you like to be the president of the United States?
Oh no, I when I was younger, I'll be honest. When I was younger, I wanted to be president. But I just thought it was just, going to the White House and, that's it. But there's a lot of work that comes along with it. And no, I can't. No. Maybe something local, but not president.
Why? You don't want that full responsibility?
Well, it takes special people to be president. And seeing that the president that we just had, number 45, I'm not going to mention his name. We just say 45.
44 was great. I can tell you that. 44 did his thing. Now look,
he did.
I do not mean to get off subject, but when he won, my gosh, I will never forget that moment. It was like walking up Chicago Avenue, and I don't know what I thought I was in, but I just was like, my president is black.
Right. And it's crazy because, one of my literature teacher in high school told me, he said, Claiborne, I'm going to tell you this. It will never be a black president, or it'll never be a black president in my lifetime. And, that stuck with me. And, my great grandmother, she also indicated, she said, she wanted a black president, but she was just afraid for his life. And then the night that Barack Obama won the presidency, historic election, I was in Grant Park that night, and I thought about her, and I couldn't. I was just weeping, and I just thought about her and thought about all the the work that the civil rights movement had to play in their part in it, and all the history that went behind this for Barack Obama to be the first African American president, and for me to see it. And
she didn't get to see it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's an experience. It definitely is. It changed. It changed a lot. It did.
Yes.
But unfortunately, we still have a lot of bad out there that's fighting with the good. So
absolutely.
So you just gotta stay prayed up, have faith in it, and like you said, you just gotta be a little bit more self-advocate for yourself, because you are your signature. So it's like no matter who you come in contact with or whatever experience you encounter, you are your self-advocate. So you just gotta have more self-responsibility. So I do see that you done went up there and you have visited the museum.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was the name of the museum that you visit?
This was the Ronald Reagan presidential library. This was my third actual presidential library. The first one was Abraham Lincoln down in Springfield Hill, Illinois. The second one was the William Jefferson Clinton Library in Arkansas. And then this one here, my wife and I was on vacation, a barely needed vacation, I might add. And we went to LA, and we were too close to Simi Valley not to go to the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. And the main reason of me wanting to go to the library is to go aboard Air Force One and see and experience and soak in the history that aircraft have with having 7 U.S. presidents that flown on that plane. So that was kind of a historic moment for me.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you are able to just get out here and be more such of a positive impact when it comes down to men, because you don't see this with a lot of men being educated, or like you stated that you're married and you are a blended family. Some men out here, they will feel like they laid eggs here. And I hate to consider kids as eggs, but they would feel like they have started, they gave birth to kids here, and now they'll go somewhere else, and they will raise the kids with this person. And it's like, why don't you just take the kids and everybody get to sit down and just come across some type of agreement? Because whether you believe it or not, when my child is over there, that's like another mother or father from her. So we still are a blended family.
Absolutely, but we, not because we have to be mature as parents. Just because
as human beings, as
human
adults.
beings, adults, just because the relationship went sour with you and I, that does not mean you hold back my kids from seeing me. That's just not right.
Or create drama.
Or create drama. I mean,
Yeah.
only thing that's hurting in the end is
Is
the
the
kids.
kids.
And
Absolutely.
as a parent, you should see that. As a human being, you should see it. As a person, you should see that.
Absolutely. So let me ask you a little bit more. I want to get off topic. This
Mhm.
is your wife here with you.
That is my beautiful wife. That's her. And I had to twist her arm to do the picture, but she did it.
Oh my gosh. I was about to say, I like how your is just stretching out. Like, sometimes people have a fold in it. They're not sure what they're reaching for. But she's like reaching like she knows she's gonna be the first lady. So even if it's not for the United States, she's the first lady of the Wade
There
home.
you go. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
she still has the first lady title. But I'm just
Hmm.
gonna ask, like, why do you think it's important that you share these type of historical moments with your wife or your children?
Oh my. Mm, you know, uh, my man. I can't, my wife is. She's everything,
Okay.
and it speaks value to someone who's willing to take on you know
Such responsibility. Yeah.
baggage responsibility from previous
Previously.
relationship, and marry you. So she saw beyond that, and
Absolutely.
she saw the person who I really am, compared to what people were trying to play me out to be. My children, oh my goodness, I want to instill into them everything that my mother taught me, everything that my father has taught me, and things that I've learned along the way. And I want to instill that into them, so they can build their own legacy one day. I want them to stay here. I met my wife here in Chicago. We went to school here in Chicago. We live in the Austin community now. We want to help build our community. So ultimately, our kids will want to, stay here, build their family here, go to school here, get a good education, good career here, and like I said, raise their family here, and help out the community, build the community as well.
How was life growing up for you in Chicago?
Oh man, it was excellent, excellent. I love Chicago. I love the Austin community. I grew up right there on, Chicago Avenue and Central. Iowa and Pine. Great block. Great friends to be around that I keep in touch with on Facebook today, and it's good to see them growing themselves. So I always believe that if we shouldn't put each other down because one person may have more than the other person. We should always be willing to, you have, let me, reach
Lend
back
a
and
hand.
pull you on
Absolutely.
up with me so
Yeah.
we can, keep it going. And then, I try to practice that, with, the work that I do today, as the parent liaison, at the priest, and also my work at, State Farm. I've been there for 17 years. Working for Larry Williams for 17 years now, and I appreciate him because he took a chance on
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
an eighth grader,
Young man.
young that kid, and
It's great
yeah, and
to
kept
have
me on
someone
all this
believe in
year.
you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and no matter what, as much the problems I came across, he was there to help and pull me out and give me advice as well. So I appreciate him for that.
And that's great because a lot of children now with society coming up, you have music being pushed on them, they have
Yeah.
other things being pushed off onto them. So it's like, right, how would you give some type of resource information or just a motivation statement to someone to pull themselves out of it when they don't have any resources or someone to believe in them like he was able to believe in you?
Absolutely. I think that, it all goes through mentoring. You have to find, I think it's okay, of course you should have something, a second piece, but I think I firmly believe that if a kid want to be, a basketball player, if a kid want to be a pro football player, that's okay. Kid wants to be a entrepreneur, own its own business one day. That is okay. Just find that person who could help you, see you through it and help you get there. Um, you know, I firmly believe that. So if it's, whatever it is, you tell that person, your parents, your mentor, and it's on them. You all work together to get to the point to where you want to be in life.
So for someone who might do feel like they will be comfortable with talking with you or just trying to join into the school boards or becoming a parent liaison, how would they be in contact with you?
Absolutely. Well, they can always find me on Facebook. My name on Facebook is Claiborne Wade, but you can always reach out to me via email. It's ODO, D as in David, dot parent Wade at gmail.com.
And how often do you respond to like the
Oh
emails?
man, that's my email that I gotta that I work with, and I have to check on a regular. So I'm always checking it. Even though my wife, she gets something and say, it's after work hours. You want to go ahead and let's give us some family time. But I always, it's always I respond back.
So I want to ask you a question because I did hear you state that you are a father of four and you have
Yes.
two sons. So with all of the like gun violence going on, or you see so much negative stuff being pushed out here onto social media or even to the news, like it's always negativity or someone has got shot, kid that got ran over, hit by a car and things like that. Do you fear for your two boys growing up in Chicago?
I think about it all the time. And I think that, it could have been me, you know, years ago, or even, just going now to, going outside and getting hurt. So, it's, what we instill in our kids, is the, the best that we can do. And, if just know that we did our best, and, that they'll see the way and begin to think that oh dang, dad did say you know don't do that, otherwise this will happen, or mom did say don't do that,
Consequences.
because there are big consequences to it, and sometimes it take an experience to happen for them to say doggone it, I should have.
That's what they
That's what
were
they were
trying to warn
talking
me
about.
about.
And it happened to me. It happens to me. So yes,
So,
we.
what have you encountered when you say like that happened to you? Have you ever had any experience any type of negativity when it comes down to violence to you in your own hometown?
uh No, I mean, no, I mean, it was. I'll share this. It was, you know, my mom, passed away.
Okay,
It had been a little over a year,
My deepest
Um,
condolences.
thank you so much. And during the time that she passed, I was already dealing with that, as well as the pandemic was shut down, and seeing my city tear itself apart.
Mm-hmm.
That was it was overwhelming, but I had to also think like, why are they doing that? It's not just because it was due to a movement of what they were trying to
Start.
to start and bring across to the powers that be, that we can't continue to take crumbs. We also
Mm-hmm.
need our fair share of the
Equal
community,
rights.
yeah, equal rights as well. We need our fair share as well. So that was a bit challenging. It was challenging, but we got to do what we have to do, and I also got to think about my kids, my family. I also have to take care of them, so that's why I have to make sure that I'm doing well too.
I hear you speak upon like you working with schools, how you done serve terms on being like student counselor. Have you done any type of outreach work with any type of pastors to do any type of movements with helping with the community being involved more?
Right. So I'm glad you said that. So we are in a couple weeks. I sit on the board at Catalyst Schools, and every year they have an event where fathers bring their kids to school, and then they work with locals, with the school, of course, the administration, community leaders, pastors, and I'm adopting that same piece at the priest. So we're
Okay.
working with our fathers at the schools, the principal, the administration, our elected officials. Congressman Davis is going to come out. Cook County Commissioner Brandon Johnson is going to participate as well, and we're inviting local our pastors, our preachers, also to our faith-based organizations, to make sure that they're playing a part in this as well. Because again, we've been saying it all night, that it takes a village to
To
raise
raise.
our
Yeah.
kids, and bring up our community too.
Absolutely. So before I do get you out of here, I definitely wanted to ask you, when you're stating that you're definitely trying to work more with the fathers, what is your goal that you are really trying to succeed when you are working with fathers into these communities?
My ultimate goal is to uh, get rid of the status quo that fathers aren't
Deadbeats.
playing a part. You did. Oh gosh, and I hate using that term. Even at a Secretary of State candidates forum, somebody said deadbeat, and I just said, instead of saying that, how can we, figure out another term, and help bring up our fathers, instead of always bashing them, or to the point to what somebody else said,
Mm-hmm.
or the system is working against our fathers. Let's bring up our fathers, show them in shining light, and show more that they are an asset to our families,
Yeah.
in which they are.
Because
So
you are the protector for us. And
mm-hmm.
it's like, how do you leave your wife? How do you leave your children? Who's going to protect them now? And,
Right, right.
so I believe that when it comes down to men and women, we are to cultivate in each other, so it's like not me pushing my fears off onto you, or you pushing yours off onto me. But like you
Right.
said, if you pour your good into me, then it'll show off on me. And then whatever good I have, I can pour into you. And now you do have a strong, sustainable family. But
Right.
we're not gonna keep saying a but or unfortunately, because that's what you guys are putting in work into now. So for fathers who are looking to change or do something like that, Claiborne Wade did give you his information, how you can reach out to him. So I'm very glad, that I'm happy and I'm honored that you are willing to do that. Like step down and say, you know what, I'm gonna help out some of these young men. I'm gonna pull them for what they can be stuck at. Have you
Mm-hmm.
ever encountered with anyone who just don't want change?
Well, Shay, I do definitely want to mention that, I'm not claiming to, know all the answers. So I'm willing to, get out there and work as well, sit down and talk about, how can we, work this out too.
Effort.
And yeah, absolutely. And sit down with mothers too, because, it, it took both of us to make these kids. So we
Mhm.
should, all sit down at the table and figure out what it is that we can do. And the thinking about the more better of our children.
Absolutely.
And to the ones um who don't just completely, I just find that um I just find it, disheartening,
Hmm.
because it's extremely. I just can't wrap my mind around it,
Hmm.
knowing that you both created this wonderful kid, and you have a life out there that you're not taking responsibility for,
Yeah.
and I do want to shed light on this too. That it also happened. I wanted to put it out there to the ones who don't, and that's going either the mother
Or
or
the
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 father.
father. Yeah.
So it goes both ways. How could you create this life and not want to take care of it? That just blows my mind.
Hmm.
That should be impossible.
Yeah. But it's possible.
It
So,
is. It really
and
is.
impossible is always a term before it. So it's
Right.
possible because people are doing it. And, it goes back to self control or just being mature enough, being an adult. But if you
Yes.
don't know how to do that, then that goes to separation. Lines have to be drawn, and unfortunately, someone is going to suffer. I don't believe it should be the kids. I think it should just been that bond or that relationship that we once had established is no more there. But being parents, we cannot remove those titles. So
You can't.
that's what we always supposed to stand strong at and be, a step up at, whether if you're a mom or a father.
Right. You're
So
absolutely right.
I want to ask you, what's new coming up for Claiborne Wade? Are you going to have a new bio out? Are you going to take on more leadership roles for 2022? What is your plans for you?
Well, school is starting back. August 30th. We're
Okay,
starting a week early this year due to the pandemic. So we want to make sure that our parents are comfortable with sending our kids back to
back into the
the
facility. Yeah.
classrooms, and making sure that we have our parent programs ready, and the resources for our parents, because the pandemic is still going on, and we want to
Hmm.
make sure that we do have make sure our parents are aware of rental assistance, and ways of putting money into the pockets of our parents, because that's key as well. And not only making sure money is in the pockets, but
The education
the
is there.
education, as well as making sure that mentally, this
Hmm.
pandemic has challenged us all in ways that we could imagine. So we want to make sure that those programs and resources are there at the click of a button at the fingertips of our parents.
Absolutely. I definitely appreciate you taking the time out with me to talk to me on this Monday and, just give more to the viewers and listeners that was out there. Claiborne definitely gave out some tips on how you could be more active in your children's lives. He definitely let you know what the board was expecting to do, what the new upcoming school year is approaching, and what to expect. So I definitely appreciate you just having that integrity and just being a stand-up guy. I think you're doing an amazing job. I'm definitely going to check back in with you just to make sure, school was able on a fresh start for you, that you were still being able to be resourceful for those parents out there, and, to just check on you and your family again. So from Let's Be Real to Claiborne Way, it has been one, and I thank you for tuning in with us this Monday. So until next time,
Thanks,
see
Shay,
you.
for having me.
No
Bye
problem.
bye.